We're here on the famous Riverwalk in San Antonio, but we aren't staying in our RV.
But why not? Going on trips is why we bought it, wasn't it?
So, like we said, instead of staying in an RV, we're at a hotel, specifically the Drury Inn, right on the northwest of the Riverwalk.
So why didn't we bring the RV?
Well, a couple of reasons. San Antonio is an old city. It was a colonial outpost back in the 1700s, but it's grown a mite since then. Because of this, there are streets that can be challenging for a van.
Or maybe it's just the driver that's challenged.
Anyway, it's the seventh most populous city in the United States and the second most populous city in Texas. So it's a busy place, and I just don't really want to drive in it. A lot of San Antonio is very touristy, with crowds, traffic, and general chaos. And although we love our van, it can be less practical in those kinds of situations. So we left it at home and decided just to drive the car and get a hotel. Which brings us to the other big reason to drive here in a car: location. Our hotel is right on the main part of the Riverwalk, close to great restaurants, entertainment, river cruises, and not too far from the Mission San Antonio de Bellito, more commonly known as the Alamo. From our hotel, we can pretty much walk anywhere we want to go see, so the van would just be sitting getting charged a hefty parking fee every day. And parking ain't cheap in a big city. One lot was $10 an hour, while at one hotel it was $50 a day for valet parking. Either way, that's a lot of money to have your RV just sit there doing nothing. We could have opted to stay at a Harvest Host or an RV park in the area, but we'd be way away off the main sites we want to see, especially the actual Riverwalk area we like to visit. So we'd be paying a lot for transportation to and from all the sites. So a little bit about the Riverwalk. This is a map of the San Antonio River going through the city. But it's a bit hard to see the river, so let's darken it up a bit. There, that's better. The Riverwalk is basically this section on the map, near the Alamo. But you could say the Riverwalk area starts from Brackenridge Park in the north, where the San Antonio Zoo is located. I say this because this is the start of the Riverwalk hike and bike path, indicated by all those red lines. If you follow those red lines, they go south past the Museum of Art and the locks and dam where a Riverwalk cruise stops, down to the main part of the Riverwalk near the Alamo, where we are staying, past Mission Concepcion, Mission San Jose, Mission San Juan, and ending at Mission Espada, at its southernmost point. Alright, let's go back to the area we're at. Right here is where you can see the Alamo on the east end of the Riverwalk, and on the northwest side is our hotel, the Drury. But maps are boring. Let's go have some fun. San Antonio suffered a series of floods in 1921, so they were going to turn part of the river into a paved-over concrete storm sewer. Thankfully, architect Robert Haugen was not a fan of this plan, and in 1938, the city adopted his plan for the Riverwalk. The Riverwalk itself is below street level, with shaded trees and walkways for visitors to shop and eat in comfort. Since its inception, it has been expanded and improved, connecting to the Tower of the Americas as part of the Hemisphere 68, the World's Fair in San Antonio. It also includes an extended branch at the River Center Mall, and there are many entrances inside street-level buildings, including the Drury where we stayed.
teach Sherry to swim. 1, 2.
My wife being silly.
Anybody ever see that movie Selena? Ever see that Selena movie? J-Lo, 1997, one of her first. In that movie, Jennifer Lopez was sitting right there on top of that bridge. In that scene, Selena, Jennifer Lopez's character, had just gotten married. Right here in front of the boat. See that cool looking sculpture right here? That stargazer. She is one of my favorite things without a doubt. And that little white star she's holding, that is white marble. Now, folks ask all the time, why is the star so small? Why did they make that star so small? Well, it represents the chances of the Dallas Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. Right side of the boat, look who's up there. Look who's up there. There's San Antonio. Not those ladies eating ice cream. No, the statue right there. See the statue? Saint Anthony. They look nice. I don't know if they're saints. Saint Anthony, patron saint of lost things. He's from Portugal. Lived there in the 12th century. The Portuguese gave us that statue prior to the World's Fair. Look here on the left side of the boat at the Palacio del Rio Hotel, the palace on the river. You'll see the first 4 floors. Then you see boxes. Boxes stacked on top of boxes on top of boxes. Remember, each one of those rooms went up there with a crane. Now, initially they thought if they could... We're in the Arneson River Theater, 1941. About 800 people could sit here on the left, watch a performance on this stage on the right. If you've seen the movie Miss Congeniality, Sandra Bullock was on this stage during the swimsuit competition. And look behind the stage. Look behind the stage. See those 5 bells? See the 5 bells behind the stage. They represent the 5 Taco Bells in San Antonio. No, the 5 Spanish missions. Look close, you'll see that it's covered with locks. Top to bottom, side to side, hundreds and hundreds of locks. That is what you call a love lock bridge. Well, they're there by that big tree. See that big tree? That's the largest tree on the Riverwalk, over 90 feet tall, 30 feet around, 400 years old, that tree. You know, our Riverwalk was originally designed as, still is, a flood control system. A way to protect downtown from flooding. Now, part of the system is right here in front of us. This is floodgate number 3. Now, this gate could lower down, block off the river if we needed to. It weighs a couple of tons. If it came down on the boat, it would chop us right in half. We test it every afternoon at 4:54, so if y'all are around, you can... Oh, wait a minute. That was scary. 1921, big flood. No Riverwalk, no flood control system. This building here on the left was here during that flood. Look through the windows here on the 2nd level. You'll see light fixtures hanging from the ceiling there in the lobby. The floodwaters were touching those light fixtures. Right side of the boat, this is the Esquire Tavern. Oldest bar on the Riverwalk. It opened up in 1933, right at the end of Prohibition. It has the longest wooden bar in Texas at 108 feet. Robert Hutton Haugen was the architect of our Riverwalk and the flood control system. Mr. Haugen, a San Antonio guy, went to the University of Texas, starts designing the Riverwalk in 1921 after a flood. Riverwalk opens in 41, and Haugen puts his office inside this cylindrical building here on the right. This is the Clifford Building, 1895. You can see Hugman's name up there on the balcony. And there's his little head right there by the steps. That's not his actual head. Right, we're going into what we call the man-made extension. This, about 6 feet deep, got a concrete bottom. This was built in time to get folks to and from the World's Fair that was here in 1968. We could not get the fair closer to the Riverwalk, so we built the Riverwalk closer to the fair. 30 nations took part in the World's Fair. 15 corporations did. Over the course of the 6-month run of the fair, 7 million people came to San Antonio.
So where are we at?
We are in San Antonio, at the Drury Inn and Suites, right next to the Riverwalk.
Yeah, but what are we doing right now?
We're having the complimentary food and beverage.
That's right. Every night, 5:30 to what was it, 7?
7.
Get free food. Tacos and hot dogs and tortilla soup and stuff like that. Tonight, there's pastas and shrimps and a whole bunch of other stuff other nights. And you get 3 free drinks, alcoholic drinks if you want, all in with your ticket. So it's in with your ticket.
And they have complimentary breakfast too.
Oh, that's right. Free breakfast. Forgot. See, the hotel room is free. It's $700 for everything else. Like we said, we stayed at the Drury. But there are many hotels you can stay at. Some quite a bit more expensive than others. But to each their own. And of course, there are restaurants. Many, many restaurants.
There's Mexican food, Tex-Mex, Louisiana Mexican, Mexican-Italian food, Chinese Mexican, Mexican seafood, Mexican pizza, Mexican barbecue.
There are also shops, but only some on the Riverwalk itself. Quite a few are at street level, but still accessible from below. La Villita was one of San Antonio's first neighborhoods, and is now an art community with art galleries, custom jewelry, pottery, and imported Mexican folk art. The variety of architectural styles seen in La Villita's buildings reflects the cultural mix from the one-room homes of the poor to the larger houses of the prosperous. This is the Schaefer House, which is notable for its roof crowned with a lantern that provides light and vents the hot summer air. This was the original site of St. Philip's College, which opened in 1898, later becoming the coeducational St. Philip's Normal Grammar Industrial School. This building is known as the Cos House, where General Cos signed the articles capitulating to the Texans on December 9th, 1835. The Alamo, or more properly, Mission San Antonio de Valero, was the site of one of the most famous battles in Texas history. On March 6, 1836, after a 12-day siege, the Mexican army attacked the defenders of the Alamo, defeating them and killing most of the survivors. Santa Anna's execution of surrendering soldiers inspired many to join the fight, most of which lost their lives in defense of something they truly believed in. At the Battle of San Jacinto on April 21st, 1836, Texans used the battle cry, "Remember the Alamo, remember Goliad." The singer Phil Collins, inspired by Texas history, amassed what is now considered one of the preeminent collections of artifacts from the Texas Revolution, which is now housed at the site.
Troops eventually secured a foothold on the dilapidated North Wall, and breaking through the weakened area, they crawled over the bodies of their dead and wounded comrades and poured into the Alamo complex. It was here, at El Fortín de Pilar, that Travis fell. Meanwhile, at the south wall, the fourth column was able to scale the wall and break through an area west of the low banks.
The Spanish governor's palace, or Presidio San Antonio de Béjar, was a fort established in 1718 to guard against the French. It was moved to its present location in 1722 as a residence and office for the captain of the Presidio. After Spain lost control of Mexico in 1821, the building housed businesses until 1929, when the city of San Antonio purchased it and turned it into a museum. I've just scratched the surface of all the things you can see in San Antonio. It's a great place to visit and spend time learning history, eating well, and experiencing beauty. Be seeing you. But wait, there's more. The moment you've all been waiting for: costs. The Drury has free hot breakfast every morning and what they call a kickback in the early evening. Basically free food, things like salads and soups and pastas and chicken and hot dogs and lots of snacks. It's a very nice complimentary bonus to the stay. Our room came with 2 queen beds and plenty of space. For all this, we were charged $133 a night for 3 nights, but we also had city and hotel taxes, so the total was $472. But there were more costs than just the hotel room. We had to pay $23 a day for parking, plus taxes, and we were charged $50 a day, plus taxes, for our dog. This may seem like a lot, and it is, but some hotels charge $100 a day for a pet, and so in a way, we lucked out, if you can call that luck. In the end, we paid almost $725 for 3 nights in a San Antonio hotel right on the Riverwalk. That may seem excessive, but I looked at other hotels that accepted pets, and the one we were thinking of staying at would have cost us over $1,000 if we had stayed there, without free food, and although located on the San Antonio River, it wasn't near the main part of the Riverwalk, so we would have had to find transportation, which we didn't need to do at the Drury. We were also thinking of staying at a nearby RV park. It would have run us about $50 a night, which would have been much cheaper, but not near where we wanted to be. We would have had to drive both the car and the RV so we could go into town, or paid for a rideshare. Not only that, our dog probably would not have been able to go with us, and even if she did, we wouldn't be able to go into some of the sites we wanted to see with her in tow. One of us would have had to take care of her while the other went in to see the museum or the shop or whatever. Since we were at the hotel, we were close by if we needed to leave her in the room or if we wanted to take her out to see the sights. I estimated a rideshare would cost us about $40 one way from the RV park to the Alamo, so add $80 plus tip, let's say $5 each way, so $90 a day for a round trip. If we went to the Riverwalk twice a day, that would have been $180 just for the rideshare. That means staying at the RV park would cost us between $420 to $690 total. And of course, we would be using up time to ride from one place to another, so less time on the Riverwalk, and the dog would have been stuck in the RV for long periods. This means the RV park might have been slightly less than half the cost of the hotel if we only visited the Riverwalk once a day, but could have cost us almost equal the price of the hotel if we went back each night as well. Because of the free food and the hotel, as well as all the conveniences of being right on the Riverwalk, it was worth the cost to have more time actually staying on the river. Your mileage may vary. All that said, you can see how there are definitely places in the country that are very popular and tourist-driven, and because of the laws of supply and demand, they charge a premium to stay there. Each trip is different, and it's important to choose the right tools for the job. For this trip, That was the car and staying at a hotel. Be seeing you.